A 15-year-old has been arrested in connection with a knife attack in West Germany, which left 3 people dead and at least 5 others seriously injured. But police say they still don't have a suspect or a motive. The attack happened last night in Solingen, near Dusseldorf, during a diversity festival. In the last hour, police gave an update saying the search for the attacker continues.
The Central Unit for Terrorism that I am head of has taken over the investigation from last night. Currently, our investigation is based on suspected murder and serious harm in 8 cases. At the moment, we do not have a perpetrator. We don't have a suspect as far as we know. At the moment, we don't have any motives, but obviously we cannot rule out terrorist motives.
Well, let's get the latest from our Europe correspondent, Siobhan Robbins.
This news conference was fascinating for what it confirmed, but actually what it didn't confirm. So I'm just going to go through again what the various people told us, starting with the officer from Dusseldorf police who was leading the operation last night. Now, he said that they were searching properties, looking across the state, but also involving federal police. So not suggesting that the man could be stuck just here, but using federal forces as well to check if there's any connections to anyone outside the state now. Confirming that 3 people who died were a 67-year-old man, a 56-year-old man and a 56-year-old woman, also saying 8 still in hospital, still being treated for injuries. 4 of them at the moment were serious, but underlining the fact that this crime has affected everyone who was at the festival last night, and many people dealing with the mental consequences of having witnessed such a ruthless and bloody attack. Now, he then updated us to talk about an arrest and said that in the early hours of the morning, a 15-year-old was detained. Now, what they were keen to point out is they do not seem to believe at this point that that person is the perpetrator. They are looking at the possibility that this 15-year-old was potentially seen by 2 witnesses talking to someone who could be the alleged perpetrator in the run-up to that attack, but they underlined that he has not been charged at this point with anything to do with carrying out the attack itself. At the moment, he said that they assume there's one perpetrator, but they are following leads. They're keeping an open mind, and they asked again for the public to pass on any information, saying that they had got some video from the scene, but there weren't police videos being taken there. They didn't have a lot of surveillance cameras being taken there. So they're asking again for people who are at the festival to hand over any videos, any photos that they have. And then we heard from that anti-terrorism chief, who underlined, as you said, that interesting fact that they do not have a suspect, very clear on that. They do not have a motive, but they can't rule out terrorism. And that was purely, in one sense, because of the fact that they can't understand why this crime has taken place. There wasn't a clear link between the people who were attacked, which would maybe push them in the direction of a different motive. And that's why terrorism is still potentially on the table. And that is also why they're still talking to their federal counterparts as well. And they said, should they get more concrete information about this definitely being a terror attack, they would then hand that investigation over to the federal authorities. Now, the question and answer really recapped quite a lot of that information. But what was interesting was one of the officers was asked, should people be frightened? Shouldn't they go outside? And he said, you know, there is a risk, but you have to live your life. So you have to decide your own boundaries, but you can't stay inside the whole time. So essentially, to recap, what we know is a 15-year-old has been detained, is being questioned possibly over having a conversation with potentially an alleged perpetrator before the attack, that a suspect hasn't been found, that there's no confirmed motive, and it seems that that manhunt is still ongoing.